Class V. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you so know it, and so do I. It does not matter who the host is. Who matters is what the listeners are, what they're about, where they're hanging, where they're banging, where they're doing all the fun stuff that they get to do. So you don't need to worry about that. Anyways, how are you? How has the last 23 hours been? I hope they have been quite fantastic. Anyways, we are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. By the way, today is Friday, October the 14th of 2022. Only 79 days left to go. By the way, we're also hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place that we do stuff at, and it's Friday, so I guess I could do this one.
Tearing the ass out of you like gas station sushi.
Yep, hanging out at Radio Big, and we are starting off with this broadcast. I feel like I'm running early because it's like 3 minutes past the top of the hour here. Yep, let's do that. Yeah, 3 minutes past the top of the hour. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on this Friday. It is freeform, so I feel like it's going to be a cluster F like it normally is, but just a little bit more than what it normally does. So let's talk immediately. Interaction with the show, callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. That will get you interactive right away if you want to do so. We can do it in that particular format. That shouldn't be any problem whatsoever. Let me make sure that I that I have you on the board today because I did realize that earlier this week I kept on telling people to call in. And I did get some callers, but I never had the board activated. So guess what happens when I don't have the board acty? Well, I can't see that you're calling because it doesn't flash, or I don't look down to see that it's flashing. So there you go. If you want to interact, callinradio.com. That will get you moving and grooving right away. We got a lot of stuff to cover, little time to do so, even though I have 3 hours to hang out. But this show on the video format, thank God, is only 1 hour. So there you go. If you want to interact video-wise, that's how that goes. Everything else leads up to 3 hours. We'll hang out 1 hour on video because I can't do 3 hours of video. I can't even stand looking at myself half the time when it comes to that. So let's just be realistic when it comes to that stuff. With that being said, let's start talking right away about what was trending because that's going to be importante.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Sometimes we call it trends, sometimes we call them highlights, sometimes we call them headlines. So take a look and do whatever the hell you want to do. But former President Trump will respond to the January 6th House Select Committee's decision to subpoena him at 8 a.m. Eastern time. So we're talking relatively few minutes here, 55 minutes from what I'm seeing right now. During the committee hearing yesterday, Chairman Benny Thompson says the Democrat-controlled panel concluded that Trump was the driving force behind the Capitol riot. Trump can refuse to comply with the subpoena or invoke the Fifth Amendment right to refuse to answer questions by the committee members if he chooses to do so. I wonder which way this will go. I'm just trying to say. Anyways, Georgia voters will get the chance to see the state two leading U.S. Senate candidates debate today. Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock leads the former football star Herschel Walker by 7 percentage points, according to the Quinnipiac University latest poll that likely what says what voters will be doing in Georgia. Walker has come under scrutiny in the recent weeks after allegations that he got an anonymous woman pregnant and then said that she needed to get an abortion in 2009. Hold on. I don't really know how you get an anonymous person pregnant. Maybe she's anonymous, but she definitely was not anonymous to him or vice versa, however you want to take a look at it. Also, the Defense Department is being told at SpaceX the Pentagon has to help pay for the satellite internet service in the Ukraine. SpaceX CEO Elon Musk tweeted today that the operation cost SpaceX $80 million and will exceed the $100 million by the end of the year. Musk warned the Pentagon that SpaceX might stop funding the satellite service unless the military kicks in tens of millions of dollars a month to help out with that. Also, reports of a flu and respiratory illness are already higher than usual, according to the CDC. The agency director said that yesterday that the flu cases are starting to pick up across much of the country, particularly in the southeast and south central U.S. He added that everybody that got vaccinated last year and many people did not get the flu. So she said that they should go out there and get some severe flu season stuff if they don't actually go out there and do something. So take a listen to this one. Lawyers for the family of Sandy Hook victims say that they'll make sure that Alex Jones pays the entire amount of the awarded to their clients. Attorney Matt, whatever the hell his last name was a legal team representing the plaintiffs who have won the $965 million from Jones, who has come over claims the Connecticut school massacre was a hoax. Matt also said that they'll leave no stone unturned in pursuing Jones and his assets for the families of the 8 Sandy Hook victims and FBI agents. So here's my question. Do you think this dude has $1 billion to be able to pay out? I'm being serious. $1 billion. Like, that's the one with the B. Yeah, $1 billion. And then, of course, the last thing hitting the trends was this. Netflix new ad-supported tier will launch on November the 3rd. The streaming giant says the new option will cost $6.99 a month. The basic with ads tier will feature an average of 4 to 5 minutes of ads and will have a 720p resolution. So hold on. 4 to 5 minutes of ads. Is that per hour? Is that per show? Is that per what? And I want to understand this. If I'm watching a movie and all of a sudden the movie's getting some action, where is the ad coming in? Is it dead in the middle? Because I don't know if you've watched that IMDb stuff that Amazon Prime offers, but they just throw the ads in wherever. And you could be like in the hot and heavy scene in regards to something important about to happen, and bam! You get the fucking ad right there in the middle. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. Yeah, that's how passionate I am about ads. So there you go. Anyways, we got a lot of stuff going on this morning, 9 minutes past the top of the hour. I will get you some news because there is a lot of news that is circulating around and things that should be said, things that should be talked about. So maybe we should do that right away. And we bring in the professional broadcasters for them to broadcast their life away on what the hell is going on here. So let's do that right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. The committee looking into last year's Capitol attack is voting to issue a subpoena to former President Trump. More from Mark Mayfield.
During yesterday's hearing, the Democrat-controlled panel concluded Trump was the driving force behind the Capitol riot. Trump can refuse to comply with the subpoena or invoke his Fifth Amendment right to refuse to answer questions by committee members if he chooses. Congress can hold Trump in contempt if he refuses to comply. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Trump says he'll respond to the bipartisan committee at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. A never-before-seen video from January 6 shows lawmakers, including Nancy Pelosi, fleeing the riot and searching for help. Lisa Taylor with more.
Shown at the hearing, the House Speaker is on video pushing to finish certifying the election results on the phone as she's ushered to a secure location. Another video shows new footage of congressional leaders on the phone desperately seeking help from the Trump administration for those stuck in the Capitol. I'm Lisa Taylor.
The footage was shot by her daughter, Alexandra, who's a documentary filmmaker. She was visiting her mother on the day of the violent attack. A juvenile is in custody in connection with the shooting deaths of 5 people in Raleigh, North Carolina Thursday. The victims included an off-duty Raleigh police officer. Authorities searched door-to-door in a neighborhood before containing the suspect, who was then taken to a nearby hospital. It appears 2 officers killed in Bristol, Connecticut Wednesday night were ambushed. Authorities say there was a fake 911 call from a private Bristol home reporting a disturbance and that the suspect was waiting with a gun to shoot officers. The suspect was found dead. It's unclear if the officers killed him or if he took his own life. SpaceX is telling the Defense Department that the Pentagon needs to help pay for satellite internet service in Ukraine. Trey Thomas with more.
The company has donated about 20,000 Starlink satellite units to Ukraine since Russia invaded in February. The satellite internet terminals are a vital communication source for Ukraine's military.
Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Nationwide are bracing for a wave of flu patients as this season could be the worst in years. CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky says the early numbers are higher than expected.
Not everybody got flu vaccinated last year, and many people did not get the flu. So that makes us ripe to have potentially a severe flu season.
Walensky says flu cases are starting to pick up across much of the country, particularly in the southeast and south central U.S. Although most flu cases go unreported, CDC data shows a steady rise in weekly cases, recently quadrupling. The CDC is pleading for Americans to get vaccinated as doctors are worried about a possible twindemic with flu and COVID cases colliding at the same time. Attorneys for the plaintiffs in the Alex Jones Sandy Hook hoax trial pledged to make sure he pays every dime awarded to their clients. Attorney Matt Blumenthal was on the legal team representing the plaintiffs, who have won an award of $965 million from Jones over his claims the Sandy Hook school massacre was a hoax. Blumenthal says they will leave no stone unturned in pursuing Jones and his assets for the families of 8 Sandy Hook victims and an FBI agent. A man is dead after getting carjacked and dragged a mile and a half by his own vehicle in Inglewood, California. This woman was a witness.
We just saw a car coming straight at us with a dead body hanging out of the bottom. And so I hopped the curb with my kids in the car because I didn't want them to hit me.
Police say the man who did it is a murder suspect and was in a crash as the passenger of a different car that led police on a short pursuit Thursday afternoon. After a 2-hour standoff with a SWAT team, the man surrendered and was arrested. Netflix's new ad-supported tier will launch on November 3rd. The streaming giant says the new option will cost $6.99 a month. The basic with ads tier will feature an average of 4 to 5 minutes of ads that will have a 720p resolution. Stock futures are lower ahead of today's big bank earnings reports. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, the Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what could be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/one-small-step. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie. So, wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Have you ever wanted to start live streaming and were not sure how to do it? You can start live streaming up to 40 social media platforms all at one time for as little as nada. It's going to cost you your time. That is what it's going to cost. You can pre-record, you can live stream, you can do a multitude of things. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to safetyfm.com/one. That's safetyfm.com, ONE.
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
It's this show, and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so there you go. Currently 18 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Friday. You know, it's so lovely this Friday that I don't even know what I'm going to do with myself. I'm so excited that it's Friday. That's what's exactly going on. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about, very little time to do so. So don't worry. I'm going to take care of you for the next couple of hours or so. That's for sure. It's like 2 hours and change. You know, I probably shouldn't scare so many people by saying that, because I'm just like, okay, I'm saying this, and they know that I know that we know that if I start talking for that long a period of time, people are going to get worried about what the hell I'm going to talk about, and that's okay. So let's get into this, because I am looking around, and we need to talk about some serious business. It appears that 2 officers have been killed in Bristol, Connecticut on Wednesday night as they were ambushed. Take a listen.
NBC Connecticut, there was a fake 911 call from a Bristol home reporting a disturbance Wednesday and that the suspect was waiting for police with a gun. Sergeant Dustin DeMonte and Officer Alex Hamzy were shot and killed, and a third officer is recovering from a bullet wound. Bristol Police Chief Brian Gould.
They answered a call to duty and they responded without hesitation. And that's what they did every night before that.
The suspect was found dead, but it's unclear if officers killed him or he took his own life. Scott Pringle, NBC News Radio, Connecticut.
Okay, thank you, Scott Pringle, for that one. So let's break this down, because there's some stuff here. There was a fake ambush, or it really wasn't a fake ambush. It was an ambush, but there was a fake call that ends up occurring in regards of a cry for help. In regards of, hey, we need assistance at our location, to all of a sudden ambush some police officers. Now, what kind of criminal mind do you have to sit there and plot that shit out? Like, think about that real quick. The level of things that have to take place. I need you to come over. I'm having an issue. And the moment you decide to get there, we decide to get violent. And that was the plan all along. It's a weird thing, and it's some weird times when you really give it some consideration about some stuff that is going on out there inside of the world.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's talk. Gas prices are now down again. Michael Kastner reports.
Reports the national average price for a regular is down to $3.90 a gallon. That's a penny lower than yesterday as prices keep dropping. The lowest priced gas in the country is in Georgia, where the statewide average is $3.26 a gallon. The most expensive, it's in California, with a statewide average of $6.15 a gallon. I'm Michael Kastner.
$6.15 a gallon. Like, how do you even drive? I mean, at that particular portion, it's like, if I decide to take a drivey Ivy, it's definitely going to cost me a fortune to go anywhere. I mean, yesterday I'm driving around. I'm with my wife. Quite exciting times in regards to doing this. And I will tell you, that Hummer vehicle, even though it is a gas guzzler, I love them. I see one, and it's a used one, and I was like, we should stop, and I should take a look at what the hell they're selling it for. And as that sentence comes out of my mouth, I decide to go, what the hell am I thinking? You know what it's going to cost to drive that thing? If I decide to do that, that just seems like some nutsy times in regards of doing that. Anyways, take a listen to this. Americans have strong opinions when it comes to modern voting laws. Rory O'Neill has some more info.
Early voting, automatic voter registration, and absentee ballots for all are popular concepts for Americans. On the flip side, a Gallup survey finds a majority don't want automatic purging of inactive voters or a limit on drop boxes for absentee ballots. The poll does find that 79% want photo ID requirements when casting a ballot. The new poll comes as midterm elections are less than a month away. I'm Rory O'Neill.
You know, I keep on wondering, what kind of clusterfuck are we going to have during the election season this time around? Because that's what it seems to be going on every time over the last couple of years or so. Well, not really a couple of years, but over last couple of elections on some things going on. Just some really interesting times as things are going down. Anyways, a Boulder restaurant is out thousands of dollars as food after several items were stolen from outside the freezers. Black Belly Market chef owner Hosea Rosenberg says that it's unfortunate weren't connected to the monitoring service.
Cops get here, these guys are going to be gone. I've been racking my brain trying to figure out why they worked so hard to steal all this food.
Video of multiple suspects were caught on camera behind the Black Belly Market around 3 a.m. on Monday after breaking a hacksaw and using crowbars and sledgehammers. The burglars managed to get in with at least $3,000 worth of food was stolen, but the amount could rise. Huge slabs of meat, high-end cheese, sauces, and even slider buns were taken. Who took the food and why isn't clear, but Boulder police say that they have identified one of the suspects and a warrant are pending for their arrest. Berry Group International President Dennis Gamberling says the food make it was a way for the black market of sorts.
It's uncommon that you'll have these vendors, I call them pickup truck thieves, but they'll sell the stolen goods, resell the stolen goods to other restaurants or even, maybe individual consumers.
I mean, that's kind of a weird thing to do. So you're selling food that was delivered to someone else and all this other fun stuff. Anyways, I'm going to make reference to this. And should I make reference to this? Of course I should make reference to this because things get weird. The richest man in the world is now selling a perfume. But he isn't calling it the scent of musk. Trey Thomas has more info.
SpaceX and Boring Company CEO Elon Musk is marketing a perfume called Burnt Hair. Musk announced on Tuesday that it's available on his tunnel drilling company's website for $100 a bottle, and by Wednesday, sales reportedly topped $1 million. Musk has updated his Twitter bio to include perfume salesman, and he tweeted, "With a name like mine, getting into the fragrance business was inevitable." I'm Trey Thomas.
So now here's the question. Do you think that they're actually selling the perfume already, or is this a pre-sale? Because, Tesla has this bad habit of liking to pre-sale stuff and reference that things are coming out, and then it takes years upon years upon years before you see it. So do you think that you'll have the Burnt Hair perfume relatively soon, or is it something that will end up taking place later on? Just something to think about.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Okay, talking about Musk, let's talk about this real quick. 4 astronauts returning to the International Space Station will be a little late. Michael Kastner reports.
Rough weather off of Florida's coasts pushed back the departure from the space station aboard a SpaceX Crew Dragon that was originally scheduled for Thursday morning. NASA and SpaceX are now aiming for 11:35 a.m. Eastern Time today for the capsule's departure and splashdown around 4:50 p.m. The Crew Dragon typically has 7 potential Florida landing zones off the coast of Pensacola, Tampa, Tallahassee, Panama City, Cape Canaveral, Daytona, and Jacksonville. I'm Michael Kastner.
So in other words, they have pretty much a lot of places around the states to actually go ahead and land. It's something to think about. Anyways, 26 minutes past top of the hour. You are still hanging out here with me and doing all the fun stuff that we get to do as we are hanging out on this lovely Friday. So let's talk about it real quick. There is progress in the UK towards returning ancient statues to Greece. Michael Kastner has some more info.
Advisory Board Lord Ed Vaizey told the BBC he's confident that a deal is within reach to return the sculptures known as the Parthenon marbles. They were taken from Athens to London in the 19th century and are the most high-profile example of the debate about whether museums should send artworks back to the countries where they were created. Greece has campaigned for decades to have the statues returned, and earlier this month, Vaizey said the moral case for sending them back to Greece is absolutely inarguable. I'm Michael Kastner.
Okay, thank you, Michael Kastner, for that information right there. Baltimore will be spending $400 million to update 5 of the oldest high schools in the city. Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott joined the school system leaders in announcing the plan.
We believe that every young person deserves a school with state-of-the-art technology that provides classroom and learning spaces designed for a 21st century education, and dare I say, where they have air conditioning and can drink the water.
The renovations will take place in Western High School, Poly, Fredericks Douglass High School, Baltimore City College, and the Joseph C. Briscoe Academy. The design phase will take about 2 years, and after the students will move on to the alternative swing spaces. School CEO Dr. Sanja Santalis says that Western Poly, Frederick Douglass, Baltimore City College, and Joseph C. Briscoe Academy are in need of reservations quickly.
These are some of our largest and most historic high schools.
Okay, so they reference right there like the place doesn't have air conditioning or drinking water, which that just sounds plain crazy when it's all said and done. Anyways, take a listen to this. Bail is denied for the woman charged in the gruesome death of her landlord in Chicago's North Side. We talked briefly about this yesterday, but Perry Williams has some more information about it.
Talked about the murder case.
The basement tenant heard the defendant screaming and what sounded like a dish breaking. The basement tenant heard the victim's voice trying to calm the defendant down, and that was the last time she heard the victim's voice.
Sandra Kalalu was charged with murder after the dismembered body of Frances Walker was found Monday in a freezer in a home in the 5900 block of North Washtenaw. The discovery was made after Walker posted an eviction notice on Kalalu's door last Sunday night. I'm Perry Williams.
I just don't get it. Some interesting stuff always going on. It just seems like that's the way that it goes. Not sometimes, but almost all the times. Anyways, take a listen to this one real quick because it's John Smalls, and you know that we have to listen to what's going on inside of the Market Beat.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Friday, October 14th, 2022. Equity markets plunged on Thursday following hot inflation data. The September read of the Consumer Price Index came in hotter than expected at the headline and core levels, as the cost of housing and wages continue to rise. The data seals the deal in regard to the Fed's next move, which will be another 100 basis point interest rate hike, according to the CME's FedWatch tool. If the next PCE price index reading is hot as well, the FOMC could be forced to become even more aggressive. Technically speaking, the move hit a key support target of 3,500, which sparked a massive rebound that left the index up for the day. Earnings season gets into high gear today with reports from the big banks. Banks are expected to show the benefit of rising interest rates, but may scare the market if consumer and business banking results are weaker than expected. Rising interest rates help the spread upon which the banks made their money, but also cut into economic activity. You can get the inside track at marketbeatminute.com.
when you start saying it might scare the market, I don't think that it might scare. I think it's going to scare the shit out of the market. That's just kind of the way that it goes based on some of the stuff that it is happening. So let's talk about this. Inflation is showing no signs of slowing down, with prices up to 8.2 points from a year ago. Yeah, think about that. NBC's Tom Costello says that September's price increase has hit Americans across the broad range of essentials.
0.2% year over year. Rent up 7.2%, the largest increase since 1982. And health insurance costs up 28%. That's the biggest increase on record.
The consumer price index for last month came in hotter than expected at 0.4%. The increase comes despite the Federal Reserve hiking interest rates last month, an effort to slow inflation. The core inflation rate, which excludes food and energy prices, rose to 6.6%, the highest since 1982. President Biden said prices are too high after the release of Thursday's report. ADP chief economist Neela Richardson says the latest inflation data puts even more pressure on the Federal Reserve to raise interest rates again next month.
To move as fast as it can, but if it moves too fast, it runs the risk of tightening too much, which could be painful for the economy.
One consumer says that she and her family are just trying to get by as skyrocketing costs are closing in.
And scraping by. Instead of one grocery store, now I shop 3 every week. Just trying to look for what's on sale and what do we need for the week.
No, I mean, let's be realistic. Prices of everything is just astronomical in regards of doing anything. Just in regards of saying, okay, let's go do this. And by the time that it's all said and done, you're spending hundreds of dollars when it used to be tens of dollars and be able to do certain things. It's just getting a little crazy out there as we are talking. Anyways, let's see, 33 minutes past the top of the hour. I think it is time for us to do some more. We need some more info. We need some more information because we can never get enough of it.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
Just story news in London. I'm Ollie Barrett. Ukraine's calling for a Red Cross mission to a prison camp in the Russia-occupied East over claims about prisoner conditions. The Red Cross tried to secure access last month, but says Russian officials wouldn't grant it. Meanwhile, Russian-backed officials in the southern Kherson region are urging residents to evacuate, claiming danger from Ukrainian rocket attacks. Kiev denies targeting its own civilians in regions Moscow claims to have annexed. The committee investigating the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol has voted to subpoena former President Donald Trump. The committee says it has enough evidence to push for criminal charges against multiple individuals relating to attempts to overturn the 2020 presidential election. Nick Harper reports from Washington.
Democrat lawmaker Benny Thompson said Donald Trump must be accountable, adding the former president is required to answer for his actions. In what's expected to be the final January the 6th hearing, the committee laid out how Donald Trump inspired the violence that unfolded on Capitol Hill and how he repeatedly tried to join the crowds at the Capitol, even after they began attacking police officers. The committee's subpoena is a formal summons for Trump to appear in person to testify under oath. However, he's now likely to fight that.
South Korea is imposing its first unilateral sanctions against North Korea in 5 years in response to ongoing missile tests. It comes as Pyongyang fired another missile into the Sea of Japan on Friday. Chris Gilbert reports from Tokyo.
Seoul says North Korea's ongoing missile tests are destabilizing peace in the region. It's blacklisting more than 30 people and institutions involved in the missile launches. It's also condemning Pyongyang for flying 10 aircraft towards the border between the two countries on Thursday, triggering an automatic deployment of South Korean fighter jets. Seoul says the move violated a pact that bans hostile acts in the border area. North Korea's latest launch on Friday morning flew 650 kilometers before landing in the ocean short of Japanese territory. Pyongyang says that was a response to 10 hours of artillery fire by South Korea. It says it's continuing its nuclear program to deter acts of aggression.
The UK's finance minister has cut short his visit to the IMF in Washington as pressure mounts to reverse parts of his mini-budget. Kwasi Kwarteng will hold urgent talks with Prime Minister Liz Truss and Conservative MPs on Friday about changes to the plans. Trade Secretary Kemi Badenoch says she still has faith in the Prime Minister.
Liz Truss is absolutely the right person to be leading our country. It's disappointing if one or two people don't agree with that, and I'm confident that a majority of Conservative MPs believe in the Prime Minister and are going to be supportive of her.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Global wildlife populations have fallen by nearly 70% in less than 50 years. That's according to the latest study by the World Wildlife Fund. Its Living Planet report has assessed 5,000 species of birds, amphibians, reptiles and fish worldwide and mapped how those populations have changed over the decades. They're now calling for immediate action to halt what they call a nature and climate crisis. Tanya Steele is the fund's chief executive.
It is a severe warning that we are facing both a climate and a nature catastrophe, and ultimately it's driven by human activity, which has continued at pace in converting so much of the natural world, whether this has been through construction, but actually largely the way in which we're changing the natural world in terms of converting land for food and for agriculture. Importantly, world leaders have been missing in action despite dire warnings over repeated years, and we need them to step forward and put in place an action plan before it is too late.
She says there is a very, very short window for action, and while conceding that the war in Ukraine and other international developments are siphoning away the attention of many world leaders, she says the evidence of the impacts of climate change themselves speak volumes about the need to give the issue immediate focus. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, Ukraine's calling for a Red Cross mission to a prison camp in the Russian-occupied East. The committee investigating the January 6th attack on the US Capitol has voted to subpoena former President Trump. South Korea is imposing its first unilateral sanctions on North Korea in 5 years. And the UK's finance minister's cut short his visit to the IMF as pressure mounts to reverse parts of his mini-budget. That's the latest feature story news. Ollie Barrett reporting.
Warning. Listening to other radio stations could cause testicle shrinkage. I'm talking the truth.
US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
We're rocking all day at work because we don't give a duck. Autocorrect probably just saved my ass there. Like I give a flying, you know.
Another pitfall of our society. Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, yes, 43 minutes past the top of the hour. This still is the Rated R Safety Show. Yeah, this one right here. This one right here. This is by a band called Rose. Satan's Calling. Now, here's the interesting part, because I'll give you a little background on this one. This is a feel-good band, and they have mostly Christian overtones on all of their songs. But this one is talking about what occurs when Satan starts calling on your door. Yeah, hey, I'm just telling you what the music's about. This song's readily available on Spotify and iTunes. Yeah, this is going back into the 90s there, just in case. I used to listen to this song all the time going to Christian school back in the day. Yeah. Bring back the pain you deserve. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. Let's talk a little bit about some of the things that are going on still inside of the world. Thanks to Rose, by the way, for that one. That's such a great song as we are playing it here on the Rated R Safety Show. So let's get into the move and groove of the things that are happening inside of this world. But as we're moving and we're grooving and we're talking, it has to be mentioned. It has to be talked about. The most important thing that we do, the most important thing that I could ever mention to you in my lifetime inside of this virtual reality of ours is about my friends at 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. They can help prevent suicide. The Lifeline provides 24/7 free and confidential support for those in distress. and people that need prevention and crisis resources for you and loved ones, and the best practices for professionals in the United States. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to 988lifeline.org. That's 988lifeline.org, or call 988, or you can actually text the word TALK to 988. That will get everything moving and grooving for you. Now listen, as we talk about this, we have to understand how important this topic is. And for the longest time, for as long as I can remember, people didn't want to talk about this. It was, suck it up, Buttercup. It's, toughen it out. Be a man. And all that bullshit that people want to tell you about how this isn't important. And I know older people, because I'm definitely in that older demo, on how if they ever spoke about this subject when they were younger, they were just told to toughen up. And listen, that's just bullshit that people say because they don't want to talk about what's important. They don't understand what the issue is. But now we have resources that are available to us immediately. Website, phone call, text. Hopefully you're somewhere where you can access these things because they're that important. 988lifeline.org. 988lifeline.org. Please keep that in mind if you are going through any kind of struggles with any of the stuff that we're talking about here. So keep that in mind as we are hanging out. It is currently 47 minutes past top of the hour. Let's talk real quick because there's some things going on today. Of course, if you want to hang out and go to the movies, well, I think you should do so. But let's talk about this. Halloween Ends start today. After 45 years, the most revered horror franchise in film history is reaching its terrifying conclusion as Laurie Strode faces off for the last time against the embodiment of evil. Michael Myers, the final confrontation. Only one will survive. Jamie Lee Curtis, Kyle Richards, and Andy Matchkitch. It all starts today. It is streaming on Peacock, by the way, and also available at your local movie theater if you want to take a gander at it there, opposed to watching it on Peacock. Another movie coming out today is Tar. The groundbreaking conductor of a major German orchestra prepares both a book launch and a much-anticipated live performance. Her life begins to unravel in a singular modern way. So there you go. That's also available if you are looking. So let's talk about this because as you are a work professional and you do the stuff that you do, sometimes you have to plan for meals. So let's talk about this. Got dinner plans? Well, hopefully your involvement in being at home with those closest to you, the secret to easing stress, be as simple of having dinner as family. According to a research of the American Heart Association, they report that 91% of parents notice their families are less stressed when they share meals together. In a poll of 1,000 adults, 84% said that they wish that they could share a meal with loved ones more often. But adults eat alone roughly half of the time. 2/3, 65% say that they at least somewhat are stressed, and 27% are very stressed. The AHA points out that sharing meals with others is a great way to reduce stress, boost self-esteem, and improve social connections, particularly for kids. And remember, chronic stress can also increase your risk of heart disease and stroke. So it's important to reduce and manage the stress as much as possible. The survey also found that many people believe that sharing meals has an additional health benefit, including providing a reminder of the importance of connecting with others. More than 54% say that sharing a meal reminds them to slow down and take a break. And nearly 6 in 10 feel that that healthier food choices when they eat with others. This is because when I eat with my family and all the unhealthy stuff has gone before I grabbed a fork. I hate eating alone, but I have a family over. But I also remember that I hate eating with others. You know, my question for you would be this: why is it okay to eat with other people, and it is a big thing to reference, but never using the bathroom with people is a thing that people recommend. I don't know. It just seems like a weird thing. Why is it okay for the way in, but not for the okay for the way out? It's something to think about it. Maybe it's time for some gas station sushi.
Tearing the ass out of you like gas station sushi.
I don't know. Just bringing it up. Anyways, the California ophthalmologist recently shocked followers by posting a video of herself extracting 23 forgotten contact lenses. So here's where we get. So let's see. Forgotten contact lenses from patients' eyes. Catherine Cabrera, an eye doctor in Newport Beach, California, posted an Instagram video of herself carefully removing contact lenses from a woman's eyes. The patient had forgotten the lenses in her eyes for months and possibly years. The video went viral, leaving millions scratching their heads about something that could simply be forgotten, such as contact lenses in that many in an eye, and one more accurately, scratching their eyes is probably the better way to say it. Take a listen to this. A woman was somehow scammed into paying $30,000 to help a Russian astronaut that she had met online return to Earth from the International Space Station. Japanese news outlets are reporting that the citizen fell in love with a man claiming to be a Russian astronaut and sent him 4.4 million yen to help him arrange a ride back to Earth. She sent the online lover the money in 5 installments, but ended up alerting the police after he kept asking for more. Kind of makes me the Nigerian prince scam sound like almost believable, doesn't it? I mean, just think about that. I'm stuck in space, and I need you to send me a lovey-dovey for I can actually get my ass back home. That's something to think about. Let's get you some motivation. I think that's what we need now.
Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Chris. Zig Ziglar said, "Don't be distracted by criticism. Remember, the only taste of success some people get is to take a bite out of you." I've mentioned it before, but I'm really glad I read Zig Ziglar's book, See You at the Top, when I was just 19 years old. He had an impact on me as a young kid. I think more people would be well served by reading that book, by the way. I know it's old now, and it may not hold up 100%, but the things I took with me have been wonderful. He also said in that book, you can have anything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. That is absolutely true, and it's brilliant. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. All of us have areas where we are particularly susceptible to temptation. Once you acknowledge your weakness, you can take steps to guard yourself, thus minimizing your risk. I'm thinking of a man who was determined to overcome his proclivity for yielding to temptation to view pornography when he was alone in his hotel room. So, he had the television removed from his room when he checked in. Extreme? Perhaps. But he found that when he dealt with temptation from a position of strength rather than weakness, his chances of success increased exponentially. James 1 says, God blesses those who patiently endure testing and temptation. Afterward, they will receive a crown of life. Lord, give us the strength to overcome temptation. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlessaMorgan.com. Despite how much weight loss advice is out there is always more to it. Here's one extremely important tip to consider if you are on your weight management journey. And this is something that does not get addressed enough. It is to prioritize mental and emotional health and stress management. As long as stress is not being managed, you will be working against weight loss, sabotaging hormones like cortisol, adrenaline, and insulin. You cannot outsmart these hormones, nor does your body care about your weight loss efforts when it's stuck in survival mode. Bottom line, stress hormones tell your body to store the majority of what you eat, even if you're only eating 1,000 calories a day. If you're stressed, your body will store most of these calories. For more information on wellness, check out alessamorgan.com.
Another pitfall of our society. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, we still got a few moments left before we get you the hell out of here. It is currently 55 minutes past the top of the hour. At the top of the hour, I will be going over to RadioBig.fm. If you want to come and hang out, you can do that by going to RadioBig.fm if you want to do that, because I'll be there exclusively for the next couple hours or so to do the stuff that we do over there. Or you can keep it locked here on Safety FM, where Sheldon Primus will be coming in next and doing the stuff that he does on this side of the equation. So there you go. Just some stuff to think about. Anyways, let's talk real quick about Did You Know? Some Belgian scientists say that they have developed a way to take a beer taste, make a beer taste even better. They successfully engineered the gene responsible for the strong flavor of beer and for other alcoholic beverages. It's a long technical explanation, but we'll have to trust them when they say that they can do this by modifying a yeast strain to give the beer a more fruitier, banana-like flavor that it is known for. They admit that they have worked on supporting the brewing company, which hopes to make the technology in a patent, meaning that other brand brews might miss out. We're not sure what exactly the company is yet, but yesterday I did notice that the new Bud Light Banana, so maybe that's something to notice. I personally think that beer tastes terrible. Just to throw that out there. Anyways, let's talk about some days of the year that you can celebrate. Bald and Free, honoring with the beauty of a shiny top. You may not have to be bald to celebrate it, though, but people who are married or related to a bald-headed person could also encourage us to celebrate alongside their the honoree. There's also World Egg Day. What else? Dessert Day, Lowercase Day, World Standard Day, Chocolate-Covered Insects Day, and Frump Day. So I guess there's a lot of days to celebrate if you want to look at that. Anyway, some quick birthdays for you. Ralph Lauren turns 83 today. Cliff Richard turns 82. Thomas Dolby, 64. Steve Coggan, 57. Usher, that Usher, he turns 44 today. Stacy Keibler, good old Stacy Keibler. She turns 43 today. Lourdes turns, Lola, Chacon turns 26, and that's about what I got for you on that side. Taking a look. If you need a random joke for today, what I do on the weekend after a few drinks is none of my business. Yeah, that's what I have to say. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What's something you really resent paying for? Yep, something you really resent paying for. Then here's one. Question. For the water cooler, of course. In a survey asking what is unexpected to wear at a nice restaurant, this came in at number 1. So this is totally unacceptable to wear at a nice restaurant. Flip-flops. You can't be in Florida then, because everybody seems to wear flip-flops wherever the hell they can here. And hey, it's your gig. Do whatever you want to do. Anyways, that's going to end up our time together. Thank you for taking a listen and being the most important part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener. If I can leave you with a deep thought for this weekend, think about this. Gratitude can turn a meal into a feast, a house into a home, and a stranger into a friend. There you go. I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye. Have a great weekend.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.